Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. Today we have the awesome Life with us. Hi, Life, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm blessed and highly favored, and thank you again for allowing me to be here to speak with you and your participants. I
Thank you.
truly appreciate the opportunity to
It's a
share.
real honor and pleasure to have you on the show. So thank you very much. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
Yes, again, my name is Life Griffith. Many people in the industry know me as Life Allah. I'm originally from New York City by way of Belize, Central America. I've been in the music business for over 30 years, creating labels and working with various artists that you may know and some that you may not know.
Excellent.
And now, working on my own imprint called Hemp High End Music Partners here in California, helping independent artists in the AI space, also helping them with partnership brokerage and special events that we do here. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Many hats you have there, Life. Thank you for sharing that with us. Tell us a little bit more about AI at the moment. It's a real big topic. Tell us a
Yeah.
bit more about your thoughts and feelings and how artists can use it as a tool to help them in the future.
Well, in the world that I come from, the era that I come from, we didn't have AI, we didn't have the internet at the time that was being developed, and we had a situation where it was all interactive and face to face in the what we call the golden era of hip hop and the early stages of hip hop business and the entertainment business in the early '80s and also late, should I say, early '90s.
Yeah,
Um, so, like anything else, things evolve, and you have to change with the change, or you become loose change, where you don't matter anymore.
that's so
So,
cool.
one of the things I had to do was to re-educate, redevelop myself in the skills necessary to help support those that's independently grounded. And AI, I have two words for it. One is arrogant ignorance, and the other one they claim is artificial intelligence. Now, anything artificial may not be official until you put some real knowledge to it.
Yes, you've got to teach it
So,
free now,
uh,
haven't you?
so AI, as you know, is transforming the world, and not just in the music industry, but in every industry, education. How would I say the industry itself, the music industry, the automotive industry, all the industries are being affected
Yes.
by AI. And it's important that the young artists understand there's a different type of AR now.
Okay.
Call it artist and repertoire, where the person goes out and look for talent. Well, guess what? The AR now is access and resources.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
How you access the appropriate information and be resourceful to what can help you grow and prosper to be an owner
Yeah.
uh, game of entertainment as opposed to being a laborer for other people's entertainment, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it does. Obviously you've been in the industry for a long time now, and you've
Yeah.
seen it evolve, you've seen it shift. And artists really struggle these days to financially make money from recorded music. What's
Yeah.
your advice on how artists can make money and make a sustainable career in the
Well,
end?
first of all, thank you for that question. It's very important because in the business, in any business, you're in it for the rate of your investment, right? The rate of your return. What you put into it is what you get out of it. And if it's something that's needed as it relates to supply and demand, then you can make money. Now, if you're doing what I call a copy and paste mindset, doing what everybody else is doing, sometimes you might not make no money because your brand is not valuable. Remember, as an artist, you're providing a service to your fan base.
That's
But
correct.
if your product is not worth the time, and most fans' attention spans are short anyway,
Yeah.
unless you have something that's so meaningful in terms of your music, sometimes you're not making no money. So it's really important to understand your brand, understand the product that you're providing, the music that you're delivering, and the people that you're delivering to in terms of your demographics.
Mhm.
One of the things that we strive to do, and right now I have no clients. I chose not to have any clients right now as it relates to artists because I'm being very mindful of who I choose to
Yeah.
work with as an artist in the do-it-yourself world. A lot of artists think they can do this by themselves, and you have to have an appropriate team who's skilled in the areas for growth and development.
Yeah.
So, as a part of the question and then an answer, I, at the first of the year, created a book called AI, Artist Intelligence, The Independence Guide of Getting Paid in the Music Business in 2025 and beyond. It's on Amazon right now for a mere cost of $20. It's
Yes.
not a lot of money, but it has 24 pages of very direct information that will show any artist, no matter where they are, domestically or internationally, how to get paid. Some of the areas of getting paid is, of course, collaborating with other corporations that will, help facilitate your bottom line. Sometimes it's merchandise, sometimes it's touring, sometimes it's licensing, TV, film. We all know that radio is a part of advertising. So, of course, you might want to, connect with radio and all of that. So there's so many different ways of getting paid. It's just making sure that you have the how would I say, the common sense approach, having what's needed as opposed to what's wanted, and making sure that your value proposition is something that people want to buy and people want to pay for.
Right.
There's a lot of garbage out there. No offense to anyone who's in the game of entertainment, but there's so much bad music that good music goes unnoticed.
Yeah, that's
And
the problem.
I'm for one that I'm
Down.
kind of going for the good music.
Like the access to entry has come down, so that means anyone can sit in their room, make music, but it might
Right.
not be top quality music. So there's a lot more competition, but the
Yeah.
quality is good, isn't it, than it used to be?
Yeah, so much competition is unbearable, and quality versus quantity. We have so much stuff coming up, we don't even know how to filter the right stuff. So right now, I really believe that the way we make money is about relationships. How do you relate to others?
100%. Yeah,
This is
building
what we like.
connections. I really agree with you on that one. And what's your thoughts like around artist development? Because artist development used to be done by labels. It used to be done by, as you developed, labels would help and support you. Now we don't have artist development. You've got to do it yourself. So it's even more crucial to kind of be an entrepreneur and make money and develop yourself as you're going along.
Well, one of the things as a veteran music executive, I was a part of that whole artist development platform back in the day where, as one of my artists, Erykah Badu, for instance, we developed her in such a way. She already had the skills. She already had a certain persona about her. She had a certain personality. We had to take it to the next level. So that included publicity, that included groundwork, street teams, that included so many different things. These days are not the days of Motown where, we seasoned you in how to interview, we seasoned you how to look, we seasoned you how to speak. So artists need to get re-educated. Even me, I'm in law school right now at USC because although I have a lot of knowledge, the knowledge I had may not be useful to today's reality. So I had to go back to school, reinvent myself, and re-educate myself in some of the areas that I'm very, very prominent in. But I think it's important that in terms of artist development, what does that really mean in this day and time? Most artists nowadays are copy and paste artists. They see something on TV, they try to mimic. Everybody's looking the same. Everybody got the same diamond teeth and the same diamond watch and a diamond rope and all that. And a lot of these people are getting killed for all of that, which makes no sense at all.
Really agree. Yeah.
I think the professionalism in terms of artist development, understanding that you're a business, understanding how to speak in meetings, knowing how to look like a businessman or a businesswoman is very, very important in the name of artist development. And what are we developing? We're developing a legacy. We're developing a sense of business acumen that's very important in today's reality.
Yeah.
And some people still are caught up in yesterday's unfortunate behaviors that don't take you far. So I think it's very important that in terms of artist development, that people need to understand the nature of business. And there's a difference. The business of entertainment and the entertainment business are two different things. And you have to understand the difference if you want to be an artist developing into an owner and into a person that people respect.
Yeah.
So that's my take on artist development.
Thank you very much. And also looking at, say we'll go back, because I've got all of Erykah Badu's albums. She's an awesome, awesome artist. I was going to say, actually, like longevity these days is a lot harder to achieve. And also, do you think we're not really getting those superstars or those international stars anymore because we're relying on things like TikTok and a lot of social media? So what's your thoughts on that?
Respectfully, there's a lot of talent out there. Like I said, unknown talent, people that are not tapped in. And, in my heyday, we dealt with real singers and real musicians. A lot of these folks are using the technology and now AI, they can create your own avatar. You can create your own, just prompt in AI and it comes out with its own song, with its own music. And although those things can't be copyrighted for protection, these are the things that are happening now. So I do realize that, in this world right now that we're in, we have to be very mindful that the artists out there, they have to be very clear about what they're trying to do. And they have to have the right team. They have to have the right mission focus. And they have to have the right persona of the game that they're in. Some still don't understand publishing. They still don't understand the nature of touring, what that means. Domestically speaking, and internationally speaking, you may be a star here, but not be nothing overseas or vice versa.
Exactly.
The international market takes music a little bit different than those who do here domestically. Sometimes we're spoiled here domestically whereas internationally, they praise what we do in music, you know? So it varies from person to person, it varies from artist to artist, and it varies from mindset to mindset when it comes to talent. But I do recognize that we do have a lot of talent, and we have to hone in on what real talent looks like for long-term growth and development.
100%. Great advice. Thank you, Lai, for that as well. So if we're looking back at the music industry and we're saying, okay, look, it's ever evolving, it's ever changing. What new trends do you see at the moment? What things are you looking at that you're saying, actually, this is a change. This is something that's new.
Well, of course, as we talked about, AI is definitely changing everything, how we do things, how we use data and analytics. You know, everything is algorithms and numbers. You know, as my one of my mentors, Clarence Lyor, said, there's only two things: friends and numbers.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, numbers mean a lot these days.
Bottom line, this is a business. It's, you know, again, you know, numbers speak.
Yeah.
You're able to make money, people will listen. Now, if you're not able to make money, nobody's listening. So at the end of the day, the trend that I keep seeing is a lot of do-it-yourself people who don't know how to do it themselves. I see that a lot.
See that a lot.
And it goes back to your circle, who you have in your circle, those that are well qualified.
Yeah.
The other trend I keep seeing is that, of course, TikTok short videos and all these other things are very, very important. Instant gratification, but only for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you have instant grits, sometimes grits don't work after a while.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anything else, you know, once we get a grip on how it works, it becomes overused, and then it becomes a problem now because now we can't tailor what is really working or not. So for me, the biggest trend is going back to how we used to do it, hands-on, things like this, interaction,
Yes.
you know, interfacing with people, making sure that your fans are growing with you as you're developing your craft.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're doing more personalization
That's
and
really
things. I hear a lot of artists now, oh, I'm on every platform. Well, to me, that makes no sense because if you're on every platform, everybody else is on every platform.
true.
And if nothing that stands out, then you'll be filtered out in the garbage of many things. So I be telling a lot of people now that come for me for advice or just having a conversation, centralize your information. Hey, if you want to find my music, this is where you find it right here.
Yes, and collect data as well from those people, right? So you
Exactly.
collect data and you own it.
Exactly. If you want my merchandise, this is where you find it right here. If you want to stream, you're not going to find me on Spotify. You want to stream my music, this is where you see it right here on my website. Everything should be centralized for that artist until he, she, or they are able to take it to the next level where the labels come looking for them to be a part of that experience and part of that bottom line, right? That's what it's about. So that's what I'm seeing now.
Thank you. And authenticity is really, really important as well today, and identity. What's your thoughts and feelings around that and how artists can break through by being
Well, again, being authentic is very important. A lot of us who come from the era of realness,
Yeah.
as opposed to social media and all this hype and the glam and the glitter that, you know, social media brings, we can see past all of that, right? I know for me, because I'm still involved doing what I'm doing, it's very important for the artist to be authentic. Realness recognize realness, and realness recognize fake very instantly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a very instant thing for us. You know, I grew up in Queens,
Yeah.
Farmers Boulevard, grew up with LL. These are friends of mine, childhood friends of mine. Run DMC, went to school with all these guys. So we understood what real meant because we lived that life. You know, a lot of us come from the street, came from the hustle and move era, had to make things happen. So a lot of these copy and paste type artists who unfortunately want to mimic what they're seeing don't last long.
See that a lot,
You have to
actually.
have more originality. You have to have more real concern about who you're targeting because, like I said, you know, people want to deal with real people, and people want real performances. They want to see a performance. They want to see entertainment. You want to be vitalized with an experience. And if you're not providing that, they move on to the next person.
Bringing your fans with you on that journey and that experience, like you said, and personalizing that if you can as well.
Exactly.
It's really what shines.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So can you just tell us what kind of barriers and struggles have you faced in music and entertainment? You've been in it a long time.
That's a very important question, and I think it's very important to say this. Some of the barriers came from my own people.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Sometimes it's fiscal, financial, in terms of raising enough capital to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Sometimes that trying to filter, as I said, through the garbage to get some real stuff that's right. Sometimes some of the barriers is working with the artists themselves. Sometimes they get caught up in their own hype and ego and don't realize this is a people's business.
Loads of
Right?
egos.
This is a people's business. And if the people are not liking you because you have a bad attitude and you're coming off as an asshole, excuse my expression, you won't be around for long.
Sound like
Some of those barriers came from some of the alleged leaders who want to continue to be gatekeepers. You know what I mean? I don't believe in the gatekeeper mindset because this doesn't belong to anyone, but it belongs to everyone.
exactly that. That's great advice. Love that.
So mentorship is very important to me to give back what I've discovered and what I've learned and hope that it will raise the awareness to young people to become owners. When I came up, I didn't understand the nature of business. I thought if you're loyal to what is you're doing, they will, pay you handsomely. I didn't understand the business of the game itself. And then it's when I got burnt or when I got shuffled and jived, I would say, is when I began to discover, wait a minute, there's another side to this, and I got to learn it
Oh yes.
to get caught in the crossfire. As a military man of 19 years, I found out that, also being very strategic in how you're doing what you're doing is very important, and knowing the team that you're on, as I mentioned earlier, and making sure that you have something that's meaningful. So a lot of those barriers as a young up and coming veteran executive, it was very hard for me because I didn't understand how people can cross you and cut your throat and stab you in the back
Yeah,
with
right.
and there's a lot of people you can't trust. Some people come in as a friend, but come in and work as a spy.
Yeah.
There's so many different barriers. And then, of course, now you have the racial barrier that still plagues us in this industry, especially what's going on with this DEI thing. And,
Yeah.
they're trying to whitewash everything. And that's no pun against anyone in particular.
Yeah.
But urban music, Black music, has always been the key to the industry itself. Always. And that goes for pop, that goes for rap, that goes for jazz, that goes for hip hop, that goes for house music. Every genre, the Black experience have had a very important part in it. But because of the very nature of who we are as a people, we don't understand the business. And this is where we get screwed. And you have to know the business. You have to understand what makes money. And you got to understand that there will be people who will use you.
Yes.
You're not smart enough to realize it. So those are some of the barriers that I faced. Some things I still face now as an older man, as a wiser man, and because I'm educated in a lot of areas, some people get intimidated by the fact that I'm very well astute on what's going on behind the closed doors. And even now, with me being in law school as an older man, people say, well, damn, you already have a master's degree. Why do you need more education? Because education, especially legal education in the game of entertainment, is critical.
Yeah.
Because what you think is one thing, legally speaking, is something else. And if you don't know how to interpret that, you're going to be screwed. So those are some of the barriers and those are some of the things that I still face. And even now, with us connecting, very important. How do we connect around the world with people like yourself who will give me a platform to speak on what I did and what I'm striving to do now to be more helpful and more innovative and more creative in this new world of entertainment.
Yeah, it's really important for the next talent and the next generation coming through. I
Yeah.
found working extremely important. Tell us a little bit more on how you think networking works for people, especially when they're coming up and they're developing to find that team.
Well, networking is so important. Like I said, relationships are so important now, and the type of relationship that you're going to have is going to end up creating where you're going to end up being down the road. You have to be mindful who you have as your circle of friends. Everybody is not there to be your friend. They're just there to use and abuse what they see you doing. But networking and with the proper people is the critical key. And you have to bring something to the table so that everybody can eat. You know what I mean? And what do I mean by eat? I don't mean just eat off a plate of food, but food for thought.
Yeah.
Are you bringing something of substance? Are you bringing something that can help the bottom line? Are you bringing some new ideas that will help support the business itself? These are very, very critical things, and who you associate with in this, game, is very critical. You look at what's going on here in LA with the whole gang thing and Big U and his affiliation trying to masquerade as an entertainment mogul, but using gang situations to facilitate extortion and all these different things. Now, let's be clear about something. The game was, built with the mafia and people in the street. Let's be clear about that,
Yeah.
right? However, we shouldn't have to conform to that in order to facilitate a vital business. We shouldn't have to have that type of mentality to illustrate who we are and what we are as a people when it comes to music. So I think some of the things now we have to be very mindful who we're around, who we're associating with. We have to be very clear about what that looks like. And everybody that we bring in our circle have to bring something to the table that's going to help support the mission. I'm
Mhm.
a mission orientated person, not just because I'm military, because that's how I was built. I
Yeah,
was by Russell Simmons and Lyor Cohen and many others that I can name, some that you may be familiar with and some not, who taught me the nature of the game. And the nature of the game, as I mentioned, is a people's business. You know, people, you have to have a good communication skill. You got to have a practical skill, a hands-on skill. So you got to up your skills in order to network. And then you have to be in the right place at the right time sometimes.
and you're
Uh,
forever learning
some
as well.
places, right, some place that you're at is not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's a stepping stone process. So sometimes you're figuring it out, then you've got to pivot and change again and do
there
something.
you go. And
Mhm.
you got to put on the right clothes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You got to put on the right attitude. You have to put on the right persona so people can perceive you as you need to be perceived as a professional, as a bottom line businessman or businesswoman for that fact. And we have a lot of women like yourself that are in the business that are making moves and making things happen. I'm
yeah.
hoping that those who are not looking at that need to look at that because, again, women are making it happen. And of course, some men are too. But at the end of the day, y'all take care of business. And that's very important.
I think if you look at the stats, actually, it's only 1 in 5 women assigned to a record label, you know, so it's not actually that much, but they are making more waves now. And I think women have been trying to make it in the game for 20, 30 years now and not had much success. So it's a
Yeah,
time.
and that's due to, the gatekeeper mindset, and it's a man-orientated business, and women may not understand. I've had a lot of women bosses in the game of music,
Yeah.
um, and I'm very glad to have learned a lot from them. I can name some: Denise Brown, Violet Brown, and many others. Who else? Who else I can name? Tina Davis,
Yeah.
LaRon, Sheila. So many other names. I got so many names in my head right now. I can't even tell you, but a lot of women, have paved the way. Sylvia Roan, who definitely is someone that people need to follow and understand. Faith Newman, that have done so much for music in so many ways, and it's important that we respect them not just as women, but as colleagues, as professionals. And
Yeah.
this is another thing I want to say about women, unfortunately, because of what happens. A lot of people look at them as sex objects,
I'm gonna say,
right?
please.
Beautiful. And we can do this and that. We all know what's going on with Puffy and that whole thing.
Yeah.
Reality, though, is that, you can never take nobody on face value, but understand the value of everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've been one to keep my personal away from my business.
Very
I
good.
get involved with any of that shenanigan stuff when
Yeah.
it comes to the bottom line. I think when people understand that, we'll be able to go a long way as a people when it comes to this game of entertainment. And hopefully I'll be able to do that before my time is up on the planet, you know?
She will. And it's been awesome talking to you. Is there any major wins or successes that you would like to share with us? I know you've already touched on some
Well,
already.
again, like I said, I'm in law school right now. I actually start my classes in a couple of weeks, and I'm so thankful for that opportunity to have been accepted at USC Law.
Yeah.
um, to focus on entertainment and contracts and AI and litigation and everything that deals with law. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the fact that I've had an opportunity to work with Prince
Well,
and
wow.
Erykah
Oh, wow.
Badu and Erykah Badu and many other artists out there. Run DMC, Tribe Called Quest, so many people I've had opportunity to work with, and I'm thankful for that. But I've also had some failures too. I fell on my face a few times because, not knowing and not realizing what was in front of me. Sometimes you have to bump your head to get ahead. Um,
Correct. It's
I
part
think
of
that's important too. Nobody just became a success overnight. And a lot of times, because those things happen, I didn't trust people. I didn't trust. And a
I
part of it is
yeah.
making sure you are with the right people that you can trust. And a lot of people I was with, I couldn't trust them, and they did a lot of things that was unfortunate. But fortunate enough for me to learn the lesson. And I'm hoping that all of you that's listening to this platform understand that you have to really vet and have people that are worthy to be a part of your camp. Everybody can't come to the game and everybody can't come to the party. Some people got to be left outside the party.
Yes.
Uh, they're just there for the wrong reasons. But like I said, one of the greatest things is that I'm still here. My book is available now, so I'm thankful for that I wrote that book, and hope that it helps the independent artists. It's on Amazon again. You
Um,
can pick it up, and for $20, you get $30, 30 years worth of knowledge in 24 pages.
oh,
And if you to want to reach out to me, you can. I think the other thing that I say that I'm so thankful for as my time in the business that I had the knowledge of myself. But you can probably see this is the universal flag of Islam,
Did you?
right?
And I kind of into Egyptian and universal stuff, so I kind of I'm into all that stuff.
As a 5%er, I was always taught to have the knowledge of myself.
Yeah,
You've heard of Wu-Tang, these are all my brothers in the 5% nation of Islam.
yeah.
And so I've been a 5%er since I've been 15. I'm 58 years old now. I still teach the importance of knowing who you are and what your powers are in the sense of your mental powers and what you can do when you put your mind to it. So I'm very thankful that those brothers in New York taught me as a young man. And now I'm an older man teaching other people that same reality. They can be whatever they choose to be when they put their mind to it. And I'm thankful for the nation. I'm also a life member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So my fraternity also teaches mentorship and the facilitation of manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. And we still are doing what we got to do out here in the community, serving the community. And I'm hoping that those that are listening will follow you and support you. And also, if they're interested, to support him, hiring music artists. And that's what we're here to do.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I share all that. Thank you so much. And also, I was going to say to you, seeing as you're doing law at the moment, what is so important about retaining rights, your rights?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, let's be clear about what's going on in the world. Unfortunately, when we were born, we gave up our rights not knowing.
Yeah,
Hey, wait, we pledge our allegiance to a flag that we don't know nothing about here in America, but it's to a republic. Now, if you understand what a republic is, and of course, everybody do your homework, right? We're dealing with a system, a business, a corporation. So owning and serving and handling your rights is so critical in the name of ownership. A lot of people who never had money give up their rights. You know, people are selling their publishing, selling their masters for a couple of $1 million, but the people who are buying it are making quadruple what they gave.
That's your
Right?
pension fund as well, right? Just so people don't know that those rights is what's going to pay you later on down the line.
Right. And so we know we're not going to be young forever. We grow old and then we, with the touring days go down and we're kind of no longer doing what we used to do in the game. We have to prepare when we're young. So when we old, we don't have to worry. We have a lot of artists out there. Like you just heard what happened with Angie Stone, who unfortunately got killed. She was owed royalties because she didn't know nothing about her rights. And she learned about it later, but contractually speaking, she gave up those rights. They gave her the so-called, bottom line loan, which as an artist, if you're taking loans from labels, you're already in the red. You're already in the dark.
Right. And
it's about making sure that you understand your intellectual property and understanding how to mastermind those things and keep those things within, be it through a trust, through an LLC, through whatever. But it's important to understand that part of the game before you just give up your rights for chicken change and then come out fried and wonder why somebody's biting you as a leg or as a wing. You're using that as an analogy per se, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I was also going to ask, artists always come up to me as well, because I go to a lot of conferences and networking events. They always say, I need a manager. And I said, you know, before you need a manager, you actually need a lawyer. That's always more important to me.
You need a partner. Yeah. I think legally speaking, those that are in the game, be it they're in entrepreneurs, artists or not, they need to understand the law, but they also need partners now. Managers, I was, been approached many times, like you should be on manager, you know how to speak, you know how to conduct yourself. I'm not here to hold your hand.
Yes.
At one time I would have done that because you're not just managing the business, you're managing the person. And sometimes people are hard to manage. Yeah. It's just that, especially when money's coming involved and they becoming big celebrities and the egos kick in and they forget what this was really about. And so that's hard to manage. So I would say, hence my company name, High End Music Partners, the motto, creativity on a higher note. So let's collectively work creatively, creative wise, and take it to a higher level. Yeah. Right, as it relates to the ownership. And so we're partners. I'm not your manager. I'm not going to be beating you up and running you down to wake you up to go to an interview. No, you know what needs to be done. Here's the itinerary. This is what you need to do. If you don't want to do that, somebody is willing to take your place.
Very, very true. It's highly competitive. It's
very competitive. Now, especially with somebody like me who knows the inside track of the game. It's important that you understand that what I'm saying to you is only giving you practical advice. You can accept it, reject it, or leave it alone. As a manager, I'm kind of prone to a 20%, 15% fee for what I bring to the table. But if I'm now forcing you to do what needs to be done, then that's not management, that's labor,
Yeah,
right?
100%. And you've got to be passionate about what you do. You've got to love what you do as well in this game,
That,
right?
and you have to wake up, ready, willing, and able to do what it takes. I'm not saying, here's one thing I want to say to everybody out there. Do not sell your soul,
Great
right?
advice. Yeah, don't do that because I've heard about all that stuff.
That. We have a lot of people selling their soul for stardom.
Mm.
Now, biblically speaking, as they say, what does it gain a man or woman to gain the whole world and lose your soul?
Oh, yeah, and it's not worth any.
I've never sold my soul. I never will in a game. I've always been a man of practicality and integrity and character to say, hey, I got to stand for the truth regardless of what anybody says. And sometimes that hindered me from growing, and sometimes it allowed me to grow the way I needed to grow on my own. But the
Exactly.
moment you sell your soul for this, it's pretty much a wrap because the devil comes for payment sooner or later. I'm quite sure you're watching, for those that are paying attention, what's going on with these so-called moguls who are now in prison because they thought that they can do what the devil do.
Well, they
You
thought they were above the
can't do
law,
what the
didn't
devil-
they? That's basically what he thought. Mm.
Yeah, you can't do what the devil do. The devil's doing what he's supposed to do, and you better do what you better do to stay out of that.
Yeah.
Provide right music, provide the right attitude, provide the right professionalism so you can get things done right. And that's it. So yeah, it's a lot. It is not nothing easy because the game is changing. Even now as we speak, the game is changing,
Oh, it's
right?
oh,
But
yeah.
you got to be on top of it. You got to be ready, willing, and able to do what's required. If this is who you are, this is what you are, then guess what? You have to make the steps necessary to be a winner. And here I am, still fighting, still every day, striving to be all I can be, and then some in the name of hemp.
Well, I love you because that's honestly iconic. And you've been in the game for a long time. You've done
Yes,
some amazing things and you've met some amazing people. And I'm sure you've traveled the world and seen some great places too.
yes, I have. I've traveled all around the world, seen a lot of things, internal and external. I'm glad that I was able to learn those lessons very early. But I think that, it's important that the young people get mentors, get with people who know, people that are going to give them the right direction, the right type of leadership, which is very lacking in this industry. There's no real leadership. That's
Yeah.
another thing that I'm coming back to hopefully bring while I still am alive, is to bring appropriate leadership in the areas that make sense.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when I hopefully get a client that's ready, willing, and able, we can show what that looks like. In the meantime, I'm also a DJ. I do a lot of house music DJing here in LA and New York and Atlanta on my downtime, and I'm providing an outlet for independent artists to perform and give them some type of insight, hindsight, and foresight to
Well,
move forward in an uncertain world.
well, one day when I'm down in the States, I hope I get an invite and I'll come and pop in and see you.
Yeah, I would love to, and hopefully maybe I can come out there. Come out there, do some things, as well.
You're more than welcome. So thank you ever so much. And if the listeners want to find out more about you, connect with you, or find out more about your work, how would they do that?
Yeah, you can go to my website, www.high, as in HIGHEM, meaning inmusicpartners.org, one word.
Yeah.
Or you can go to my Instagram, HEM Partners, and follow me to those two areas. I also have a TikTok as well. I'm not really on it as much, but I'm on there as well. There's Hemp Partners as well. And you can find out what we got coming up. We have a big event coming up May 2nd here in Long Beach.
Okay.
Bringing house music to Long Beach, the place called the Shades of Africa.
Yeah.
It'll be the first time that someone has brought house music. And also, I'm the father of house music in my homeland in Belize. I just brought house music to Belize about 3 years ago. Just came back a couple of days ago from doing an event out there in my homeland. So yeah, I'm a one-man army, but I'm striving to spread my wings and hopefully fly right and get with the right people to share what I'm doing in the name of hemp. Also, to understand what hemp is, because some people think it's cannabis related. It is, because I used to be a cannabis instructor to my veteran community. But it has three meanings. High-end music partners, again, the name stands for itself. The other meaning is helping educate misinformed people. This is where the consultation that I bring comes into play. And then healing everyone musically with a purpose, because music is a medicine and it's also a healer. So you are tapped into hemp and you're tapped into the frequency, energy, and vibration, then you could take your creativity on a higher note, which is the motto.
Well, I love that. Well, thank you ever so much. On that note, we're going to leave it there. Thank you ever so much. It's been a blessing. Good luck with you've got going on. Let's keep in touch. And I'm
Yes,
wishing you all the best
please do.
and
Yes,
everything you've got going.
yes, ma'am. I thank you again for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity to share some insights with you today, and keep doing what you're doing. Very, very proud to know you. I look forward to building a robust business with you, a relationship. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I really appreciate it.
Your pleasure. Thank you ever so much. We'll speak again soon. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Peace, everybody.